Big news out of Ottawa today. Prime Minister Mark Carney just confirmed a brand new trade deal with the United States. It's being called one of the most balanced and forward-looking agreements in years, designed to protect Canadian jobs while keeping cross-border trade strong. After years of chaos under Trump's protectionist policies, this move finally puts Canada back in control of its economic future, confident, stable, and respected on the world stage again. Carney just made a move that nobody saw coming. For weeks, critics claimed he'd failed to close a deal with Washington, that Canada was being left behind. Well, they were wrong. Behind the scenes, Carney's team was quietly negotiating one of the most strategic trade breakthroughs in years. The Globe and Mail reports that the long-awaited U.S.-Canada trade deal could be finalized at the APC summit. After months of tense negotiations, Carney's steady diplomacy appears to be paying off, signaling a breakthrough that could redefine North American trade stability. While Trump-era chaos tore up global partnerships and wrecked America's reputation abroad, Canada stayed patient, focused, and smart. Now that discipline is paying off, sources say a new trade deal is finally taking shape, one centered on protecting Canada's key industries: steel, aluminum, and energy. These are the backbones of our economy. And Carney's making sure they stay competitive without selling out to American pressure. He's not chasing photo ops or Twitter fights. He's building real stability. This is what leadership looks like: measured, thoughtful, and confident. Carney knows timing matters. There's a time to hit back and a time to talk. And right now, he's choosing smart diplomacy over reckless noise. For once, Canada's not reacting to Washington. Washington is reacting to us. That's the shift. While Trump's America burned bridges, Carney's Canada is quietly rebuilding them on our terms. And whether the opposition likes it or not, this deal could redefine North American trade for the next decade. You can criticize all you want, but facts are facts. Carney's calm strategy just outplayed the loudest man in the room.
We're working to get greater certainty with the U.S.
What's he like to deal with?
Well, you've interviewed him. I know that.
But you've met him much more than I have.
I have. Look, he is very. I mean, look, he's very sharp. He's very curious about people's opinions on a wide range of issues, and so he will solicit my views, other people's views on topics of the day, particularly international. He's decisive, and he has an ability to change the dynamic very quickly on, whether it's with respect to Ukraine, peace in the Middle East, global trade, and beyond. So you can understand, it's absolutely clear why he's leader of the United States. I mean,
Carney didn't hold back, and you can feel it in every word. He described what it's really like to deal with Trump. Sharp, yes, but unpredictable, impulsive, and driven by a one-dimensional obsession with winning. Carney's tone was diplomatic, but the message was clear. Dealing with Trump isn't about policy. It's about surviving the chaos he creates. Trump views global trade like a casino table. If he's not winning, he thinks someone's cheating. That's the difference between Carney and Trump. Trump treats allies like enemies and turns negotiations into a spectacle. Carney treats trade as strategy, measured, long-term, and built on mutual growth. When Carney called the U.S. approach mafioso economic policy, he wasn't exaggerating. He was pointing out the truth. America under Trump has been strong-arming its friends, weaponizing its economy, and monetizing its military power to bully smaller nations. Carney, on the other hand, is showing what grown-up diplomacy looks like. He's rebuilding trust, not burning it. He's defending Canada's Arctic sovereignty, expanding radar coverage, investing in defense, and proving that leadership isn't about chest thumping. It's about protecting your people and your principles. So while Trump plays power games, Carney plays the long game. He's the kind of leader who understands comparative advantage, global balance, and cooperation, not Twitter wars. What you're seeing right now is the return of Canadian influence, grounded in intelligence, calm, and strength. Carney is doing what Trump never could, leading without fear, building without breaking, and standing tall for Canada on the world stage.
The diplomatic relationship between Canada and China appears to be on the mend after years of strain and a more recent escalation in trade tensions. But Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand was in Beijing this past week, where she held bilateral trade talks with her Chinese counterpart Wang Yi, with both Ottawa and Beijing agreeing to reopen communication lines, potentially paving the way for a summit between Mark Carney and Xi Jinping.
Something major is happening, and for once it's not chaos, it's strategy. Carney is quietly reshaping Canada's global position. And it's bigger than most people realize. Yes, Canada already has deals with the US on steel, aluminum, and energy. But the auto sector, the crown jewel of modern manufacturing, remains open. And here's where Carney's brilliance shows. He's not waiting around for Washington's approval. He's opening the door to Beijing. This week's signals are clear. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand's visit to China wasn't just a diplomatic courtesy call. It was groundwork. After nearly a decade of strained relations, Ottawa and Beijing are finally talking again. Communication lines have reopened, and insiders say an official Carney-Xi Jinping summit could happen soon, possibly even at APEC. If that happens, Canada could secure something monumental, a breakthrough on electric vehicles with BYD, China's EV powerhouse. Now, let's be honest, BYD. Entering the Canadian market would be a game changer. While Trump's America slaps 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs and calls it economic nationalism, Carney is taking a smarter path. He knows Canadians need affordable, high-tech EVs to drive the green transition, and locking in a deal with BYD could deliver exactly that. Instead of joining America's trade wars, Canada is choosing progress, technology, affordability, and energy independence.
Lynette Ong joins us now, Distinguished Professor of Chinese Politics at the University of Toronto and Director at the Munk School's China Governance Lab. Professor, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Let me start by asking what you made of Minister Anand's visit to Beijing, because this is only the second time that a Canadian foreign minister has visited China in some 8 years. Is it fair to say that this is significant?
Yes, I think this is a significant development. I see this as, at a very bare minimum, a thawing of relations. But I'm also fairly cautious about it. I think it could potentially signal warming of ties between the two countries, but I think it's still early days. There are many hurdles to overcome, such as public opinion in Canada towards China, because they have arbitrarily detained 2 Canadians before. They have also recently imposed another round of trade coercion on our canola oil, pork, and seafood products.
This isn't about abandoning the U.S. It's about balance. Carney understands that in today's world, no country can afford to depend on a single trading partner, especially one as unpredictable as Washington. Under Trump, America turned inward, treating allies like competitors. Carney is correcting that mistake by expanding Canada's alliances, not shrinking them. By strengthening ties with China while keeping doors open with the U.S., he's building leverage, ensuring Canada always has options, never begging for them. Critics will cry foul, claiming Carney is getting too close to Beijing. But look at the results. Tariffs on Chinese steel and aluminum are easing. Canada's canola exporters, once targeted by Chinese restrictions, might finally get relief. And with the world's largest EV manufacturer knocking on Canada's door, we're looking at cleaner jobs, cheaper cars, and real investment flowing into Canadian cities. Trump tried to bully the world into submission with tariffs and threats. Carney is doing the opposite, building partnerships through diplomacy and calm economic logic. He's showing that Canada can compete without shouting, lead without dominating, and negotiate without surrendering its values. If Carney closes the auto deal at APEC, whether with Washington, Beijing, or both, it'll mark a turning point. Canada will stand as a bridge between 2 superpowers, not a shadow of either. That's leadership rooted in confidence, not fear. So while Trump obsesses over winning trade like it's a casino game, Carney's playing chess and Canada's pieces are moving fast. Energy, metals, and now maybe electric vehicles. This is how a modern economy evolves. Canada's not choosing sides, it's choosing strength. And that's exactly the kind of strategy that wins in the long run. Steady, smart, and unmistakably Canadian.
Now to the impact of Donald Trump's global trade war. The U.S. president just signed off on 25% tariffs on medium and heavy truck imports starting next month. Now there are exemptions for vehicles compliant with a CUSMA free trade agreement. But there are new questions over Canada's response to tariff threats. Mackenzie Gray joins us from Ottawa. Mackenzie, it appears the Carney government has quietly dropped more levies.
After dumping the vast majority of the counter tariffs on the U.S., and Mark Carney's elbows have come even further down with a new 100-page order, dropping some counter tariffs not just on the U.S., but also on China. Tariffs on China go back to last summer, put in place by Justin Trudeau at the request of the Biden administration. But now dozens of certain types of Chinese steel and aluminum can enter Canada without tariff, a significant disappointment.
Trump's trade war is back, and once again, it's hurting everyone but him. The former U.S. president just slapped a 25% tariff on medium and heavy truck imports, pretending it'll protect American jobs. In reality, it's another blow to global trade stability. But here's what's interesting. Canada isn't taking the bait this time. Mark Carney's government is lowering its guard, lifting counter tariffs, and showing that real leadership means knowing when to fight and when to talk. While Trump tries to divide markets, Carney is doing the opposite, stabilizing them. Ottawa just announced a quiet rollback of several tariffs on both the U.S. and China. That's not a weakness, that's strategy. Carney understands that Canada doesn't win by copying Washington's aggression. It wins by keeping doors open. His 100-page order easing levies on key sectors from steel and aluminum to energy and healthcare signals a reset in trade diplomacy. It tells the world that Canada is ready to deal, not to feud.
We're going to see a spike of Chinese steel in the country, which is not good because we need to decouple from China, and we've been on the right path, but this is not helpful right now.
Tariffs on many U.S. products are also being cut, including on some steel and aluminum, but also on goods in the healthcare, public safety, and national defense sector, and even on granular products.
Trump's reckless tariffs have already pushed global supply chains to the brink. But Carney's move shows calm under pressure. He's making Canada a reliable player at a time when the U.S. is becoming unpredictable again. This isn't about surrendering leverage. It's about building it. When Carney says there's a time to hit back and a time to talk, he's showing exactly why Ottawa's approach works. By reducing tariffs on American and Chinese goods, Carney is positioning Canada as the middle power that both sides need. It's the smarter play, attracting new investment, lowering consumer prices, and strengthening Canada's hand before the Apex summit. Trump's America First left the U.S. isolated. Carney's Canada First is bringing the world back to the table. You can call it diplomacy, you can call it strategy. Either way, it's working. Canada's trade talks with Washington are ongoing and progress takes time, but the bigger picture is clear. While Trump swings wildly, chasing headlines, Carney is quietly reshaping Canada's future. One negotiation at a time. No shouting, no chaos, just steady results. That's the difference between short-term noise and long-term leadership. And right now, Canada finally has the latter.